Alright, now we're continuing on here. Oops. Right now we're on the OSPF routing process for VPNA. So on R3, R6, and R7, they're already pre-configured with OSPF. And let's go ahead and verify that. In R3, 6, and 7, 3 show run section router OSPF. 3 section 6 and 7. Okay, it's already configured with OSPF. And 3, 6, and 7, I believe, are going to be our PE routers. Let's go ahead and get to the diagram. So 3, 6, and 7. Alright, so those are already have OSPF. And so on router 1, we're going to configure on our 1, 2, 3, on our 1, 2, 4, XR1 and XR2, we're going to configure OSPF with our process ID 100. Enable process on all the links in the VRF. Configure the domain ID to have that specific domain type, and then configure the OSPF aware process in R1, XR2 to ignore the down bit in the type 3 LSAs. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. All right, so let's go ahead and in R1, 2, 3, go 1, 2, 4, XR1 and XR2. Go ahead and get OSPF configured there. We'll go ahead here. Our OSPF 100. We're going to do this VRF aware process, VPNA. And then the domain ID is going to be type 005. And then we put the hex value in there, which I believe there's no X in the hex. That's funny. Whatever. Good. And then, so what they were talking about in this last stage about the OSPF ignoring the down bit, what they're talking about is essentially it has to do with the OSPF propagation and how the PE router does loop detection, and that is with the domain ID. Well, that's actually going to be the domain ID and then also the down bit for it for what MPLS. So what MPBGP does when you redistribute it between BGP and OSPF is that it sets a down bit, and that down bit indicates that it's coming from the upstream provider. So if that down bit isn't set and it's coming down through the network, essentially he will not use it as a forwarding entry. Well, you have the potential for a routing loop. That's essentially what it will end up happening here. Um, so in order to fix this, you have to do the command capability VRF Lite, and that uh, do not perform. Yeah, and are we saying to ignore it or yeah, right. So what we're saying is capability VRF Lite, so that way that down bit is that down bit check is not done. Um, Going down to the CE routers or the true CE routers. So that's good. So just gonna take this configuration and just do this everywhere. So that needs to go on R1, R2, R2, R4, and then XR1 and XR2, which those configs are pretty simple. Can't recall where this goes in on this guy. underneath, yeah, capability VRF Lite, area 0, and then we're on XR1. So the interface that XR1 has that's in VPN A should be XR2's interface, the first one here, this 111920. So we're gonna put that in to the VRF. That should be all I need there. And then same thing with XR2. It's gonna be the same exact interfaces, so that should be able to work. Alright, so OSPF, OSPF, VRF, VPNA, neighbor, and we should have some neighbors about to start coming up here. Okay, so we need to enable process. So on R1, we need to make sure that OSPF is on that link, show IP VRF, like doing it this way. Interface IP OSPF 100 area 0. 2. That's good. They're just going through the negotiation phase right now. And R1 120, gig 120. VPNB, that's good. Alright, so router 2 is concerned, he's good. Router 7, so we need to go to router 4. Okay, so that's good. I think XR2 had an interface that's in router 6. So who's in VPN A? 620 is in VPN A. Okay, we're just going to do this to this interface. It looks good to me. So IPv4 VRF all interface brief. Alright, everything looks good. Okay, so we got OSPF up. And by configuring this, like I said, this ignores the downbeat bit, so that way, as routes are getting propagated and the domain ID matches
We won't be filtering out any of the routes coming from the external networks because this is going to be marked in your Type 5 LSAs. So, because we're not going to be doing any sham links in this lab, the down bit is going to be inspected when the Type 5 LSAs come in, and they're just going to verify that it's just going to extend the ability to do um, loop dissection. Gosh, grabbing a brain fart. Okay, so we're going to configure RIP on the VRF B process. So for VPN-B. So R8 and R9 are pre-configured with RIP, R9 and R8. And we gotta configure RIP version 2 process on R1, R2, R5, XR1, and XR2. Okay, RIP version 2. Oh, just gotta do router VPN B version 2. No, auto summary. So on router 1, it's gonna be the 1920 link. So we got those activated. So 9 should be receiving at least one route now. He is. Okay, so we know RIP's working between 9 and 1. So what we else need to also do is an R2. Should be learning some routes here. Sure. Yeah, B must be learning that from router 9, which he is. See if router 2 is learning. Yep, okay. Just took a second for router 2 to converge, but he's learning his routes. So we have RIP built from there to there to there. That stops at the true PE. And now let's go ahead and finish up here. So R2, R5, and XR1 is next. R5 and gig 58. So let's see if he's learning it.
It's taking a second for Rip to come up here. I don't know why. Rip is pretty slow. We'll come back. We'll just do the XRs next. So XR1 and XR2 is going to need it for VPNB, which is going to be on that IP address here, on this interface here. So go ahead and do this. Router rip, VRF VPNB, version. Okay. Let's go back and just check on router 8 real quick. Hmm. Oh, you know why? It's because he should at least. I'm tripping. I haven't done the BGP sessions yet. That's why he's not learning it. So on router 5, I should be able to see router 8's loopback address, which I am. Here we go, guys. This means it's almost time for a break, but we got one more portion to do after this video. So we need to do the same thing in XR2 now. In 1920. I think 120 is where for yeah, router 9. So we're gonna commit. Should actually be learning the route from router 9. Show 1 router rip. Oh, you know what I gotta do? Something I don't like about XR. So you gotta specify the address family. I could have swore. Oh, I just took a second. Rip is just slow, so we're good to go. All right. So our next video,
We're gonna go ahead and configure the BGP process, and then do our redistribution, and then do our sanity checks to make sure that everything is operating as we intended it to. So stop here, and we'll start the next video soon.